So L1 Association has a kind of long-term partnership with Lucky Trimmer Festival, which is a Berlin-based event for short works. Every year there is an open call and they invite around 10 minutes long works, maximum 10 minutes is a strict rule. And in the last years, we always invited someone from the festival, and that's how we met with Saskia. I say we because Zsolt Varga, who gave the wine to Saskia, he was also there in Berlin with me. And yeah, so that's the background. Thanks to Lucky Trimmer we met. But why it was, what did you think about us as we were sitting on a couch at the Lucky Brunch, and two weird women, in between two weird women, they were asking questions from you and try to find out if and how. Yeah, do you remember?
Yes. Yeah, it was very weird because Lucky Trimmer is this kind of privileged event, and it was the first time I performed at a festival where there were invited other curators. So there was this amazing brunch in this amazing house, and I was eating and I was super nervous, and then curators were coming to me and being like, "So, we saw your performance last night. How did you work it?" Or, "We liked what you did." So it was a bit uncomfortable, definitely, but not because of you and Elena, but more the general situation.
But you also have been to Elena's?
Not yet.
Not yet, you will travel.
November, yes.
But still, it seems that it worked out well for you.
Yes.
And when we got to the point to invite you here, usually I don't ask too much about the performers and creators, but the piece itself does a lot, and I was really happy to meet you and to see this work. Can you tell us a little background, how you worked with and why this brain jogging?
Well, the interesting thing about this piece that other than all the other pieces I made, it doesn't have a sense. So it didn't have a it doesn't have a meaning. I didn't make it because I wanted to say something, which is usually the case. But it was a movement composition in my second year, and so the teacher asked me, like, if this was the last piece you want to do, what would you want to do? And I was in second year, and I was like, I don't know, I just want to move. And I showed him a lot of different videos of stuff that inspired me, and he said, like, yeah, okay, so what are you interested in? And then he thought I was very brainy, and he gave me this task where I just had to move, and as soon as I realized what I'm doing, I have to do something else. And then he made me start, and I started, and he let me go for 20 minutes, and he was like, you do have a million ideas, like, I think this is what you should do. So I started composing one thing that I can do on a stage after another, and yeah, this is how long it got in the time that I had for the movement composition, basically.
When you arrived, you told me that you are preparing some new thing.
Yes.
And does this mean that this kind of composition work, what we have seen now, is a route for you in the future? Or should we imagine you in a totally different way?
I think I do a lot of very, very different things. So this is not, I think it's kind of my style, but at the same time I do very, very other stuff. But I want to make this into a full evening performance soon. And because I'm really curious where it will go, if I just keep continue, and what topic can develop maybe, like someone who's trying to be everything, or I don't know, see someone break down. I don't know what can happen. But what I'm doing at the moment is more with characters and text and audio composition and music, and it's less reduced. I definitely like this dramaturgy of like things just randomly changing and the audience mind kind of creating the thing. I mean, I don't know if it happened for you, but yeah, so this is something that I want to keep exploring. How can I just change and change and change and change, and this can be a dramaturgy.
On one hand, I wanted to ask you if you work alone or you have an outside eye, but before you answer this, I kind of would like to know, what have you seen? Did you have this kind of brain jogging also? Did you found out some of the movements where are from, or what did you imagine?
It's like comics.
Comics?
Yeah, it's like I had images, like frames and storyboard. I think it's fine. Now do you hear me?
Then you have to be louder.
Comics. More comics.
Anybody else?
I think it was working this way for me for sure, and I think for other people as well, that images are very coming up in my head, and many of movements were suggested, so like, yeah, you could see something really what you already saw, like the samurai or whatever, so I think that worked.
Any concrete?
I share your opinion about this atomic structure, and it's really interesting. This was for me like a test that you get the 10 per 10 out of it. That okay, I know this picture, and I know this picture too. Oh, and I know this association too. So it's really like you are all the time you are looking for to grab something and to trying to put in your own mind structure. So it's really funny this way.
For me, it was like a cliche dictionary for a brain, a cliche dictionary in movement. It's kind of chewing gum for the brain in the movement performance. Thank you.
Sorry.
I really liked it, and the first thought for me was that it's obvious and it's something that everyone can understand. And the beginning, the first third, I could follow it in a way that I really felt like all these images going towards a certain direction. After a while, I felt it's just it becomes a lot of different images next to each other. I mean, I lost the track for myself. But I enjoyed that part when it was nonsense, but it was still linking or rushing towards something. And I thought of a Hungarian movie that I didn't see, but it's called Ladies and Gentlemen, and it's a love story of a man and a woman, but edited from hundreds of different movies from world cinema. But it's a cliche love story between a man and woman, very cinematographic Hollywood movie. But so I like that when it's still random, but it still goes towards something, some narrative. I don't know.
Can I have a question? So I really like your urge to move from the beginning till the end. You just give yourself. So it was amazing that way. And can I ask about like what kind of technique or method, if you use in the cuts between the action, because you have really different actions next to each other. So this cut, how you immediately change the intention, emotion, or perception point of view.
Yes. So I am originally an actress, so this inner state is actually, for me, the piece is like flashing through a dia show. So I kind of like, I try to imagine every single thing and then like have another image, another image, another image, another image, and like, it's quite difficult to do it, and it's quite exhausting. And I think that what I try is really change the image as fast as possible, and then just let it like open everything else for the imagination. And it's a lot of practice. Like for me, like the movement has to be in the body, kind of, for most of it, and then it's practice to imagine the images, to be able to know them so well that I can change them fast in my head. And then the challenge is that I always do some things that obviously in other spaces I cannot do. So I always, like, this is another challenge that I have to like leave the choreography, do something else and enter it again. And it keeps me really like, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive. Yeah, and this space is really nice. Yeah, and it's also confusing because in Lucky Drum I had a 10-minute version, I also have a 5-minute version and a 6-minute version, and yeah, sometimes I get really confused with, because then I cut out things and put them back in.
Maybe if you have now the mic, do you work alone, or you have somebody?
Yeah, for this one I had this mentor, but he was basically just pushing me to do more. And other pieces, as a soloist, I like to lock myself up and be completely by myself. And I work with the camera a lot. So I film myself, I watch myself, I film myself, and I give myself feedback, and I give myself tasks, and then I go to the other side, and I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to do that? And then I give myself, yeah, it's like a loop with myself. And I have a group with a friend of mine, so we're a duet, a small theater, and we do the same. Because we're also both performing and we always record, and then, yeah. But it's nice because you can be vulnerable, I feel. Because nobody else, like, I need quite some time until I can let someone else in. Yeah. Because when I know nobody's gonna see it, I can like open and do whatever comes out and then make it pretty before somebody else sees. Yeah.
Is there anybody who would like to share something with Saskia, or even a question, if you have? Just I don't want to like squeeze. No? And what's the next step? I mean that you will have this 1 hour long break. Do you have already a date or premiere?
Yeah. Yes, I have a premiere on the 7th of November with my first full evening solo performance. Yeah, and in Cologne, if somebody happens to be in Cologne, of you guys. Yeah, and it's a piece about gender categories. So it is not as senseless as this one. Or nonsense, I like the word nonsense, yes. And how is it for you to be naked on stage?
Natural.
I think we're like both sitting here like completely sweaty, trying to be sophisticated. Any questions?
Actually, it doesn't matter if you don't have questions now, because Saskia is still here tomorrow. Luckily, she could manage to stay here for the whole festival event as some of our guests, which is great because that's the main purpose of the festival, to give the chance to meet in between you. Maybe not with me, because you don't see me so often. Maybe in Berlin we were talking much more than here.
Yeah.
Good that we have this kind of conversation session, no? Like we are forced to do it. Yes, thank you very much. And the next step will be that Flóra Veres, who is a Hungarian young choreographer and dancer, will have a work in progress presentation of her brand new work. I'm lucky to be her mentor, actually. And Adam Horváth created the music for this, so that will be the next show and the last for tonight in the Black Box Theatre. And here I would like to take the chance to announce a special event which will happen tomorrow here in Bakelit, before everything will happen, because Agnes, who is sitting there and whose great dance books you already could meet and watch and read and whatever smell, or I don't know what's the desire. We thought that tomorrow, 7:30, we will organize a reading or introduction where, if there will be any books left in her luggage, then she would like to get a deeper impact background. So after the Slovak Institute's performance of Eva Urbanova, which is at 6 tomorrow, we will continue here, and 7:30 Agnes will grab your attention and talk about the dance books which she has here. If you have questions or if you would like to just get in a discussion with her, feel free, because this time will be open for such. And then we will continue the evening with Marketa and Taneli's work, and then we will toast at the end of the festival. And not to forget, we will have here the exhibition. Plus, if you are, well, if you, how did you say it, Frederick, today, to put the face into the center, but you had a very nice sentence. Not focusing, but Eva, do you remember?
Presenting?
Pardon?
Presenting?
Oh,
presenting.
Presenting.
Yeah, presenting the face. If you would like to work on this, still Frederick will have a class in the morning at the Hungarian Dance Academy. And some of us who have been there, we can say that it was really like challenging, exhausting, and fun at the same time. So whoever would like to come, there is still possibility. So we go out and slowly we just check if over there the stage is ready, and we continue the evening with Flora's work. Thank you.
Thank you.